Welcome to the Bay. All right, today we've got a real classic on our hands, a proper GPU showdown. We're pitting NVIDIA's next-gen RTX 5070 Ti against AMD's absolute beast, the RX 7900 XTX. This, my friends, is a battle for the very soul of your next gaming PC. So, you're at that exciting point. You're ready to build. You've got the cash saved up, and now you're staring at two very different paths to gaming nirvana. And let me tell you, the choice you make right here, it's going to define pretty much everything about your new rig.
In one corner, you've got the NVIDIA RTX 5070 Ti. We're calling it the RT King. It's all about the shiny new features, built on that brand new Blackwell architecture. And in the other corner, the AMD RX 7900 XTX, what we're calling the Raster Beast. This thing is just pure, unadulterated gaming horsepower, with a VRAM buffer that is just huge. So yeah, two titans, two totally different game plans.
All right, let's get right into it. Round 1, raw raster power. Now, what does that mean? It means we're turning off all the fancy bells and whistles, all the ray tracing, to see one thing, pure, traditional gaming performance. It's basically the raw muscle of the card. And where else would we start but the neon-drenched, super demanding streets of Night City, or cranking Cyberpunk 2077 to ultra settings, but, and this is key, ray tracing is completely off.
And bam, right away the story starts to unfold. Look at that. The 7900 XTX is just flexing, hitting 135 frames per second. That's a really solid lead over the 5070 Ti's 112. This is that raw brute force we were just talking about right there on the screen.
Okay, let's switch gears. How about a fast-paced shooter? Let's jump into Warzone. And yep, the pattern continues. The 7900 XTX is just churning out frames, a crazy 235 FPS. The 5070 Ti is no slouch at 196, but man, if you're a competitive player on a high refresh monitor and not using RT, the advantage for Team Red is undeniable.
So here's the big takeaway from round 1, and it's crystal clear. If you're the kind of gamer who just wants to crank up the settings in traditional games, and you don't really care about ray tracing, the 7900 XTX is an absolute monster. It just wins.
But wait, that's only half the story, right? Time for round 2, the ray tracing arena. Now, this is where things get interesting. This is NVIDIA's turf, and believe me, it completely flips the script. So, we've seen how they perform in the dark, but what happens when we flick the switch? What happens when we turn on all those gorgeous, realistic, pretty lights? You know, the reflections, the shadows, all the stuff that makes you go, wow. And here it is. This is the trade-off perfectly illustrated. We're back in Cyberpunk, same settings, but now ray tracing is on high. And would you look at that? The tables have completely 100% turned. The 5070 Ti is now out in front with a super smooth 105 FPS, while the 7900 XTX, it struggles a bit more, down at 84. The whole power dynamic just flipped on its head. So you're probably asking, why? What just happened? Well, it all comes down to specialized hardware. The 5070 Ti has these things called RT and tensor cores thanks to its new Blackwell architecture. Think of them like specialized workers on an assembly line. They only handle light and AI, and they're incredibly good at it. You add DLSS 4 to the mix, which is like magic for boosting frame rates. And yeah, when those pretty lights are on, NVIDIA has a massive advantage. Okay. So frame rates are great, but a PC build is about more than just a number in the corner of your screen, right? So let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's look at the tail of the tape, the specs, the power draw, the VRAM, all the stuff that's going to impact your case, your wallet, and even your electricity bill.
And the very first thing we absolutely have to talk about is this number right here, 24 gigabytes. That's the headline feature for the RX 7900 XTX, and it is an absolutely colossal amount of VRAM.
So, why should you care about that number? Think of it like this. It's headroom. It's breathing room. It means you can slam on those ultra-high-res 4K texture packs and not even break a sweat. You can load up your games with tons of VRAM-hungry mods. It's all about future-proofing, really. It gives you peace of mind that you're ready for whatever crazy demanding games are coming down the pipe.
Okay, so let's put them side by side. You've got the 5070 Ti with a very respectable 16 gigs of that super fast new GDDR7 memory. But then you have the 7900 XTX with that giant 24 gig pool of GDDR6. So what's the catch? Well, it's power. The 5070 Ti is way more efficient, only drawing about 300 watts. The XTX is a bit of a gas guzzler at 355 watts. Now that might not sound like a huge difference, but it definitely can influence what size power supply you need and how you think about cooling your rig.
All right, we've looked at the performance, we've gone through the specs, now it's time for the verdict.
Let's figure out which one of these champions belongs in your next build.
And honestly, the best way to figure this out is to ask yourself one simple question. Who are you as a gamer? No, really, think about it. What do you actually play? What do you actually care about? Because your answer is going to point you right to the perfect card.
Let's break it down. If you're the ray tracing enjoyer, the person who lives for those jaw-dropping cinematic visuals, the RTX 570 Ti is, without a doubt, your champion. But if you're the 4K modder or just the pure power gamer who couldn't care less about RT, the RX 7900 XTX and its mountain of VRAM is calling your name. It's a no-brainer. Oh, and if you are the efficiency guru, the builder who wants a cool, quiet rig, the 5070 Ti makes that life a whole lot easier.
And at the end of the day, that's really what this all boils down to. The folks over at bestgpusforgaming.com, our source for this, they put it perfectly. This is a classic showdown. It's VRAM plus raster versus RT plus upscaling. That's the decision.
Now here's a big caveat. Pricing. The prices on these things are always changing, and a price drop on either card could totally change which one is the better deal. So for the absolute latest pricing, and honestly a way deeper dive into all the benchmarks, you've got to check out our source for this whole explainer, bestgpusforgaming.com.
So there you have it. You've got the data, you know the numbers, you understand the trade-offs. The only question left is, which GPU truly speaks to the soul of the rig you want to build? Are you going for the feature-packed, forward-looking RT King or the raw, untamed power of the Raster Beast? The choice is all yours. Keep it cool and keep building.